Hello there and welcome to the Mobile Academy. And if you want to become a job ready Flutter developer, make sure to check out the courses on my website mobileacademy.io. Here you will find all of the courses related to the Flutter development. You will find the professional course as well as the basic course related to the Flutter. You can also find some of the free courses over here if you want to just go and try it out, or if you are just a beginner on the Flutter and then the React Native, you can also find the free course over here. And if you would like to be a full stack developer, we also have the course related to the full stack developer, related to the Node.js, Express, MongoDB, as well as the Flutter over here. And if you would like to join the Flutter bootcamp, there is also a bootcamp course over here. So make sure to go and check out the course over here. There are free and then the paid course. And if you want to be a job ready Flutter developer, this is the course that you want to take. So see you guys on the next lesson. Till then, have a great day. Let us continue with our lesson over here. So let us get started over here and let us try to create our first API endpoint over here. So for that, what we need is we require the express over here, express express over here, and that will be of the require express over here. And the next is that we have to create the app, right? So you can have a different name over here, but generally the naming convention is that we will be using an app over here, and the we will just go and construct our express over here. So let's just go and express, give us some comment over here, express over here. This is saying that we are going to require this particular package, and we are giving the a variable name for that one as an express over here. Currently we are just using the JS format of importing over here, and in the later stage, once we are building a real the application, or at that time we'll be using the TypeScript. So at that time it will be quite different, but as a starter we will be using JS or the JavaScript to create our API using the express over here, so we can easily get started over here. And later on the once we are building a real application, then we'll switch back to the TypeScript over there. So once we have this particular app over here, and then what we need to do is we will create our first endpoint over here, and that will be the basic one over here. So just go over here and let's say I'll just say app dot, and I can go and say that the get over here. So this is the get, right? So the HTTP request for the get over here, and let's say this is for the root directory over here, or the root endpoint over here. And let me just go and have this one over here, rest.descend or the response. This is the response over here. As you can see, this req is actually a request over here, and this is the request that we are sending from the we are sending the API request, like if you are connecting it from the mobile device, let's say a Flutter application, or let's say a React Native application, or even some kind of the web application. So yeah, if you are sending that particular request over here, and that will be on the request over here, and this is the response that we are going to return back to that particular client request over here. And once we connect to this one, or once we send a request to this particular endpoint, right, or the root endpoint over here, we are going to return rest.send or just a hello world over here. So that's our first endpoint over here. And let's go and run our what we need to do is next is we need to start this particular server. Without starting a server, we can't just go and connect it, right? So let's go to down below over here, and what we'll do is I'll just go and say the app, right, and then the listen over here. So I need to listen on let's say a specific port over here. I'll just give a port number of 3000 for now, but you can obviously go and change it to a different port. And let's just go and this will give us the callback over here. and that callbacks will we callback function, and this is the arrow function in the JavaScript, right? And here we'll just go and log the listening on the port of the 3000 over here. So now this particular express or the app that we have defined over here is going to listen on the port of the 3000 over here, and then we can connect to it. So what we'll do now is let's try to go and run this one, and let's try to start our server over here. And for that, what we need to is let's go and open up the new terminal over here, and we need to go inside this particular folder. So let's just go and start manually, but later we'll see how we can use some packages to go and run that server automatically once we are in the development environment. So here we are inside, we need to go to inside this particular src over here, right? So that will be of the cd src over here. And let's go and list the file. We have the app.js, and we need to use the node node, and then let's just the app.js over here. So this is going to run that particular JS file, and you can see now listening on the port 3000 over here. So which means that the server is currently actually running. So what we can do now is we'll try to connect it. So let's go back to our let's open up our this particular browser over here, and let's go and browse that one to be of the local host on the 3000, right? So that was on the running on the 3000. Let's try to connect, and now you can see that we got the hello world back from that particular response, and that's cool. So this was the first API response that we have generated over here. So that's the let me just drag it over here, and you can see that this is what we have created, and our server is listening on this particular port. And the next step will be to create some more endpoint over here, and we will be doing on the next lecture. And we will also use the postman to connect to that particular endpoints. So let's meet up in the next one. Till then, have a great day. Let us continue with our lesson over here. So in the previous lesson, we saw how we can create our first API endpoint over here. And next, let us go and see how we can create some more endpoint, and let us see how we can connect it through the postman over here. We'll be using a postman for the API testing over here. And next, we will just go and create the app dot the let's say a get over here. And let's just go and say that this will be of the API, and then the v1, and then I'll just go and say the tags over here. So let's just go and say the tags, let's see tags over here, and let's just go and have the request and then the response over here, and let's just go and close it as well over here. And that should be fine, I guess. And let's just go and close it as well. It's good practice to have it the closing a comma over here. This is the, as I mentioned previously, a request and then the response over here. TASKS tags over here. And once we are creating the API, it's usually a good practice to have this particular format. So usually you will see API version and then the name, like the tags, users, right, and then the products and all of the information. So we'll be following this particular the naming, the API naming over here, and later we'll see much more information over there. But for now, just keep in mind that we will be using this format, so API version 1, and later if we change to the version 2, and all of this information will be upgraded. So from here, what we'll do is we are just going to return the let's say the res dot the status of the 200. So the status code of 200 basically means that it was a success or the okay, and we will be looking into the status code later on, but for now I guess that should be fine. And in the JSON, here we are going to return the JSON the format over here, so response.json. And here first thing, I'll just go and say the status will be of the success, and then the results will be of the tags, the length, because currently we don't have any of the tags, right? and then finally the data will be of the tags of the, let's say, of a tags. And currently we don't have this particular tags, and we are not seeing any of the errors. So this is the problem with the JS or the JavaScript. Even though we don't have this tags, it's not giving us any of the warning or the error or some kind of the message over here, right? So on the later stage, that's why we'll be using the TypeScript, which will help us to overcome all of these, but that's on the later stage. And now let's go and see how we can create this particular tags. So this is the tags, which means the list, right? So let's go and have some over to here. So let's just go and create some const of the tags for now. Sorry for that. It should not be of this. It should be of the const of the tags, and that will be of equals to the, let's give the array over here, and inside this particular array, let's just go and create the object over here. And currently we will just go and have one, and let's just go and create the 2 over here, and that will be of the ID of the 2. So now you can see that how easy it was to auto generate because of the Codimum tool that we are using over here. So I don't have to type all of this information. It can auto generate for me. So that's the cool thing of the AI over here, right? So I have a let's just go and have at least a 3 over here. So let's just have a 3 tags over here. And what we need to do is now we need to call this API and get that particular response. So let's open up our, let me open my the Postman. Make sure you have installed the Postman. If you haven't, just Google search for the Postman, and you should be able to download and install that one. And once I have this particular Postman over here, I'm using a free version, that's perfectly fine. And let me close all of this, and I'm just going to add a new. From here I'll just go and add a new, and I'll select the HTTP over here. You can also go and create the different workspace over here. I have a different workspaces over here. You can go and create the new workspace, and that's all thing that you can do over here. I have already created a new workspace for this, is naming as a weekend code over here. And if you want to switch from here, I can just go and switch to a different one. That is also perfectly fine. So let's just go, and I'll just go and switch to this one. This is an empty one I created for this particular specific course over here. And I'll just go and create the new, and we will be using the HTTP over here. We are not using a GraphQL or gRPC or WebSocket and other stuff. So let's just go and select the HTTP from here, and let's create our first request over here. That will be of the LOC local host, right? So I guess I have to make use of HTTP, and that will be of the colon slash, and then the LOC local host, and then the port was the 3000 that we were using, and then I have the API slash the v1 over here, and then the tsks tags over here. So that should match with this particular the over here. So API version 1 tags, and then the server is running on the port 3000, so it's running on the local host 3000, API version 1, and then the tags over here. So let's try to go and send this particular information. We got the error which says that it cannot find that one. So why it cannot find that one is because we haven't saved, or it hasn't been it was running previously, right? So if you go and take a look over here, this service was running previously before we added this one. So it is running from top. The server, it is always runs from the top to the bottom, step by step. And once we add a new one over here, then we have to restart that particular server, right? We need to restart that particular server, and then the server can or the Express will know that there is this particular new endpoint, but currently it doesn't know. So what we'll do is we'll have to go and stop this particular server, and then we have to again go and run that one. So cd src. Currently I'm doing it manually, but later we'll see how we can automate this using one package over here. So now it is running on the port 3000. Let's go back over here, and now let us go and try to send this one, and we are still getting an error over here. So that means that something is not correct over here. And let me try to send the on this particular endpoint over here, right? So that was the 3000, and we are receiving the hello world, but we are not receiving this one. As you can see over here, API version 1, and then we were not able to get that one. So that is because we forgot one thing over here. That should be of the forward slash over here. So that should fix that. And let's go back over here, and let's try to reverse that one over here. And now if I try to send this one, and we still got that, because you know, obviously we have to restart the server if anything changes over here. That is depend in your something else, right? So let's just go and have the cd src over here, and I'll just go and restart this particular server, and it is running. So let's just go and try it out one more time. So let's just go and run it, and now it's cool. So now we got our response back from the server. So status, and then the result, and then the data package over here. So now we know how we can create that particular the endpoint over here. And in the coming up or the next lesson, we'll go and see how we can automate this particular server running whenever we change some file over here. So let's do that on the next one. Till then, have a great day. Let us continue with our lesson over here. So the next step what we'll do is we'll try to see how we can restart the server once we add or made some changes, or sometime we add a new file. So we just want to restart the server automatically over here, and we don't want to manually restart our server whenever there is a changes over here. So what we will do over here is we'll go to the readme.file, and we will install this particular package. So you can just copy this, and you can run this particular command npm-i-g, which basically means the global, and the node mod. So you basically mean that you want to install this particular package globally, so you can run it from anywhere. And once we have this once we run this one, it will go and install this particular package. I'm not going to run this particular command because I have already installed this particular package over here. And the next step is we'll go to our package.json over here, and we will add some script over here inside this script tag over here. And here we'll set the I'll just give a dev, but you can just give any other name like the start or start.dev. So you can give any name, but I'll just give it as a dev for now. And here we'll use a nodemon over here. This is a nodemon that we just installed the package over here. This nodemon package will help us to automatically restart the server, because it's going to watch any of the changes that we made in our files over here. And next is we have to pass in the path of our file, which is of the source, and then the app.js. This is the file that we want to this is the server file that we are running, right? So you can see this is running that particular main file as a app.listen. So this is the file that we have to target it over here. And once we have done this setup, what we can do is now we can just go and run the npm run then the dev. So let's try to go and run. Now we can see that it is starting the server for us. And if you have a different name over here, you just have to pass the npm run and then that particular script name over here. So let's try to see if once we change that any of the file, if the server get restarts over here. So what we'll do is I'll just try to go and change some you can see now it is restarting, and every time I go and do something over here, so let's just go and add a new one over here, and then you will see that it is going to restart that particular server. So you can see now, which means that our nodemon package that we have installed over here and then how we have configured the script over here, and then the server is automatically running, or it is automatically restarted once we change or amend some file, or if we add some files over here, it's going to automatically run all of our files over here. Sorry, the server over here. So I guess that's all for this lesson, and we saw how we can configure the node mon over here. And on the next step, we will continue with our basic API creation over here. Till then, have a great day.